Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov has been briefing the media on the talks held with Ukraine and Turkey yesterday and played down any hopes of a breakthrough. It comes a day after Russia said it intended to scale back its military activity in Kiev and Chernihiv, and Ukraine said it would consider becoming a neutral state.
We received yesterday information. Right now the Russian forces move away from Kiev. It's not true. Whole night.
In spite of this, the mayor of Kiev, Vitaly Klitschko, said the sound of shelling could be heard around the capital despite Moscow's promise. In an address to the European Committee of the Regions, the former heavyweight boxing champion said battles were taking place near his city. And the governor of Chernihiv region, Vyacheslav Chaus, says there was no let-up in strikes overnight. Russian shelling has damaged a Holocaust memorial on the outskirts of the eastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. The monument, in the form of a giant menorah, a 7-branched candelabra, had lost 2 of its branches. An engraving on a stone pillar near the damaged memorial says it pays tribute to more than 16,000 people from the Kharkiv Jewish ghetto who were killed by the Nazis from December 1941 to January 1942. Germany has declared an early warning over possible gas supply disruptions amid a payment standoff with Russia. Russia has demanded unfriendly countries pay for its gas in rubles from the end of March. The EU, which pays in euros, has rejected the idea. Moscow later appeared to soften its stance, saying on Wednesday ruble payments would be introduced gradually. But Germany has urged consumers and companies to reduce consumption in anticipation of possible shortages. Mourners have paid tribute to 5 people shot and killed by a Palestinian gunman in a suburb of the Israeli city of Tel Aviv in the 3rd deadly attack of its kind in a week. It happened at Bnei Brak, one of the country's most populous ultra-Orthodox Jewish areas. The gunman was shot dead by police at the scene. Israeli security forces were on high alert after attacks by Israeli Arabs last Tuesday and Sunday, which left 6 people dead. Israel's Prime Minister Naftali Bennett said the country was currently dealing with a new wave of terrorism. The parents of 43 Mexican students who disappeared in 2014 have reacted with outrage following a report that revealed Mexico's armed forces knew that the student teachers were being kidnapped. Relatives of those kidnapped by the criminals gathered for a press conference after the findings showed the army hid evidence that could have helped locate them. They were under surveillance because their college, which has strong ties to left-wing social movements in Mexico, was viewed as a potential hotbed of subversion. Students' relatives also asked Mexico's government to investigate the former president Enrique Peña Nieto's involvement in the case. Thousands of people have been driven from their homes in the Democratic Republic of Congo after the M23 rebel group attacked army positions near the border with Uganda and Rwanda. Heavy fighting started on Sunday night, and by Tuesday the rebels had moved into the city of Kabindi and were nearing the area's local administrative seat, the town of Rutshuru. Uganda's Red Cross said on Tuesday that some 6,000 refugees had crossed into Uganda from 6 villages near the border. A new front in Ethiopia's war in the Afar region is hampering peace talks, that's according to 3 regional officials. The flare-up of violence in Afar this year came after fighting in the neighbouring regions of Tigray and Amhara, with peace talks grounding to a stalemate as moves were gathering pace to get the government in Addis Ababa and Tigrayan rebels to agree to peace negotiations. The TPLF and Afar forces dispute who started the most recent round of fighting in the northeastern region, which flared up in mid-January. And South Korea's military says it has successfully test-fired a solid-fuel space rocket for the first time. The launch is the first such test since South Korea and the United States agreed last year to end decades of restrictions on the South's ballistic missile and rocket development, and comes less than a week after North Korea conducted its highest missile test yet. It's a step, it says, that will help to eventually launch a constellation of satellites to better monitor threats from North Korea. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.